Damn, that was a long game. Pretty long game. Almost 3.5 hours for an NFL game is really, really long. But it kind of lived up to expectations. What we all expected it to be, kind of a shootout game. It was good for fantasy for the most part. For basically most of the people that you're starting for fantasy reasons. I mean, Dak threw for 376 yards, gave you 14 more on the ground, only one touchdown, but 376 yards. That right there is 15 points. In kind of a standard league. So, he got you basically 20 points. Wish he had a couple more touchdowns, but just how it goes. Javonte got you the touchdown. This is Javonte, like 17 carries. Maybe he gives you 2 catches like he did today. He didn't do anything with those, but he gives you, almost 20 touches, 15 to 20 touches every week. But if he doesn't get in the end zone, it's disappointing. But he found the end zone. And so you're pretty happy. CeeDee Lamb was off to a monster game. Had 120 yards basically at halftime, and then left early in the third quarter. Ryan Flournoy, good game. No one started him. George Pickens was the big disappointment from this game. Ferguson, 5 for 58. You'll take that from a tight end. George Pickens, only 5 for 37. Pretty big disappointment. Goff was all right, threw for 300 and a touchdown. Montgomery found the end zone. Gibbs is amazing as a receiver, man. Like 7 catches, 77 yards is pretty awesome. Didn't do much on the ground, but got you 3 touchdowns. In terms of yardage, you got you 3 touchdowns. Jamo was awesome. Amon-Ra, weren't sure. I don't know how many people actually started Amon-Ra. If you did, congrats. He gave you 6 for 92. You're pretty happy with that if he gave you that. So, actually says, is Jamo now a trustable start at wide receiver in full PPR? Yeah, he 100% is. 100% he's trustable. You look at since Dan Campbell's taken over play calling here, like Jameson Williams has been awesome. So, and that was with Amon-Ra here as he bring in my brother. It was a long game. That's a 3.5 hour game. Just talking about Jamo here. Yeah, it lived up to expectations for sure. I was just talking about it. Basically every fantasy asset you started in this game came through except for Pickens. And even he didn't have, he got you 9 points or whatever he got you. Not what you want, but Jameson Williams, since Dan Campbell's taken over play calling, has been pretty awesome. He has that goose egg kind of in there, but other than that, he's been really, really good. But good game overall. Good to see the Lions bounce back. If you're a Lions fan and if you're a Cowboys fan, still alive, but it would have made it a lot easier if you won tonight. That's for sure. I know you didn't get to see most of the game or and all that, but it was a good game. It was fun. It was fun, man. Amon-Ra came through 6 for 92. So if you started him, you're pretty happy there. Gibbs, I always think about Gibbs going 7 for 77 through the air. It's like, man, I wonder how good he would be as just a wide receiver. He'd probably be pretty awesome. It's just a receiver.
Yeah, he definitely puts up the numbers with just the catches. I got to watch half of the third quarter and all of the fourth, so I got to see good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a little sad I didn't see Amon-Ra got activated. Last time I checked was around 4:00. And he was still questionable. And I was like, where's the update? I had to go do some work in the garden at work. So that's okay. I'm already in the playoffs in that in our listener redraft league.
You got to take advantage of the auto sub. That's that's why it's created. there.
Yeah, I never really think about using it except for like when there's the early games and stuff. So
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
all
that
right.
situation, yeah, would have been perfect. Which listener league?
El Dorado. So hopefully Chigo Conquo will outscore him on St. Brown.
Yeah, probably not. You're in contention for the second seed too
I don't
in
need a
that
bye week.
league.
It's fine. It's fine.
With Marv and really several people, but Marv is the main one there. Yeah, I mean, at least he didn't have a blow up game. He looked good though. He looked good. Made a couple big catches. Yeah, CD was on pay. He was on track for a huge CD Lamb game, and then he got knocked out very early in the third quarter. Unfortunately, trying to make a touchdown catch, but he basically had 120 yards at half. And yeah, he was looking like vintage CD Lamb there, but it's how it goes sometimes. Kind of an ugly concussion. I mean, they ruled him out like instantly. When a play happened, you could see like he looked off, like hands kind of stuck in the air, and then 5 minutes later, sleeper update that he's out. So yeah, sucks that he didn't do more, but he still gave you a pretty big game for six for 120. So but it's the final week of the regular season. We'll probably make tonight a quick stream since it's starting a little bit later because of the game. But yeah, final week of the fantasy regular season for most people. 4 teams on a bye. Hopefully, yeah, I don't want to deal with that. But yeah, hopefully when it always sucks, like, I don't know, having those players on a bye week 14 if you really need to win and stuff. But it's how it is. It's just how it is. What is it? Patriots, Panthers, Niners, and yeah, Who's the fourth team? Patriots, Panthers, Niners, and someone.
Is it Giants?
Yeah, I think it is the Giants. Is it the Giants? I don't remember. But I know the Patriots and Niners are the 2 big ones. Let's see here. Is it the Giants? Yeah, it is the Giants. You're right. But yeah, any questions here? Leave them in the chat. We're gonna make this a quick one. Late where I'm at, late game in general. So we'll be back live again on Saturday and Sunday and get more action there. But in terms of the NFL schedule, it's going to be a pretty good one. I mean, this was obviously kicking it off here. Was pretty nice, but I think there's some interesting games of like Chiefs Texans, man. That's kind of for the Chiefs, it's kind of like a do or die game there. Like it's kind of a playoff game for them at this point. And they could be out without a couple offensive linemen against the Texans. Could be gross there. Jags Colts is going to be fun.
Would you pick in those 2 games?
I picked Jacksonville and Houston.
Yeah, we did too. Because it is such an important game for the Chiefs, I'm sure they'll end up winning. They have a way of doing that, just figuring it out, even though they can be outgunned. I mean, they won't be outgunned offensively, I guess, but that defense is mean, obviously. But
it's kind of what I thought last week for them, though.
Houston.
For the Chiefs, that's why I picked them last week. Was like they kind of need to win this game, and the Chiefs kind of find a way to win this game, and they didn't, So, yeah, when the Texans offensive lineman out, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs win, obviously, but Jacksonville, I don't know. I guess it's so frustrating because they're not producing what we want them to produce for fantasy, like Lawrence and BTJ and stuff like that, but they're winning. They're in first place. They're putting up like 30 points, offensively over the last like several weeks, pretty consistently. So, I mean, you can't really, they're doing something right. So, I thought there was another pretty big game. Packers Bears was going to be fun. So you got I think that's for first place, or maybe the Bears will still be in first. I don't know. No, Packers will take first place.
Yeah,
because they have the tie. Because they have that tie. Bills Bengals could be a good fun one. Ravens Steelers, we'll see.
Yeah, a lot of divisional stuff this week, which is always a lot of fun.
Yep. Chargers Eagles. Hopefully Herbert plays and Omari on Hampton. Hopefully we find out Saturday or something if those guys are playing. Usually we do.
I bet you will know about Hampton, and Herbert will be game time decision, and it's hard to have the pivot, right? Like, it's like, are you really gonna in Superflex, obviously, like, you probably want to hold out for Herbert unless you have a good third option. But I got one Superflex league where I've only got Herbert and Drake May on a bye. So, and Trey Lance was not available. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe no quarterbacks. And that's to maintain.
Have you made the
playoffs? Yeah, I already made the playoffs in that one. But it is for a bye week, potentially. I'm in second place, tied in record, but killing it points wise.
Mm-hmm.
For the tiebreaker. So, and no league median or anything. So, would really appreciate it, Herbert, if you played, but it's all right if you don't.
Yeah, he's probably going to play if I had to guess, but we'll see how good he is. Eagles are going to be without Jalen Carter, so that's pretty big news. Just defensively, I think he changes that defense a lot, and Chargers' offensive line is not great. At least in pass protection, they're going to want to run the ball a lot, and maybe they can run the ball on the Eagles. I mean, the Bears just did. So, sorry to cough there. So yeah, that's obviously big news, but it's going to be hard for the Chargers. Chargers' schedule to end the year is brutal. They're going to have to probably pull out 2 wins against the Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Texans, Broncos to make the playoffs. So we'll see here. Yeah, Pickens was disappointing for sure. I mean, he didn't kill you, but, for him to not get double-digit PPR points is not fun. Not fun. I think CeeDee Lamb being out there helps Pickens. I know it kind of seems like counterintuitive a little bit. Like, no, he's going to get all the targets, but I think he opens things up for him. I know he wasn't really doing anything, even with CeeDee out there, but it really just takes one big catch from him. And, yeah, I think Lions did a good job on him for sure. So it is disappointing. It is disappointing, but it's hard to fault him. I mean, he's been awesome, and it's always hard when like the bad games come when you feel like you need it the most, right? Like week 14 if you're trying to make the playoffs or something. But hopefully
so it goes. Yeah. It is rough. It is rough.
Yeah. Hopefully you didn't play like Gibbs or something, play against him or JMO or something like that. It's actually kind of looking at like the quarterbacks actually didn't do super hot. Like, I mean, Dak threw for a bunch of yards, but like just to see, you see a lot of production from like Jameson, Amon-Ra, Gibbs all had good games. And like Goff had a solid game. I mean, 301, but yeah, kind of sucks that he didn't get that second touchdown. Would you go Waddle or Ibuka in the wide receiver 2 spot? And he played Pickens and played against JMO, so he's down he's probably down in projection here, with Pickens having a bad game and JMO kind of doubling up Pickens there in this game. Which way are you leaning for?
Initial
two?
lean is Waddle. Ibuka hasn't been like it's like he's definitely like benchable as a wide receiver too, I guess. He hasn't really been coming through. I kind of wonder. Okay, Evans is still limited, so I don't know if that's really going to change my opinion very much. I mean, Waddle hasn't been great either, but I'm kind of that's kind of my initial lean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Waddle's been last couple of games he hasn't been great. What's that?
Yeah, no, I thought I got that matchup wrong, but Waddle against the Jets.
Yeah, I think I'd go Waddle. I think it's close, but Evans could be back. I mean, Jalen McMillan could be back. I don't think Jalen McMillan's really going to affect Ibuka. Evans could definitely affect Ibuka even the first week back. So I go Waddle. I mean, I think they both have very similar upside for the most part. Waddle hasn't been great the last 2 weeks, but he's gotten the targets. Before that, he was awesome, for a good stretch there. Basically, from like a good 4 or 5 week stretch there, he was one of the best wide receivers for fantasy and pretty consistent. And then, he's had a couple of down games. Ibuka, it's been kind of rough here for a while.
Yeah. I mean, he's had one game over 10 PPR points since week 5. Ibuka has. So I was talking to my coworker this morning about that, kind of like we were talking about Justin Jefferson and Ibuka and, like how they've been kind of playing not that far off, like, especially like if you just go back about 6 weeks, but like the conversation was kind of relative to like where you drafted guys, it's like, well, you took Jefferson in the middle of the first round or earlier, basically, and you got Ibuka 6, 7, 8, and how that's still kind of carrying forward into week 14, where it's like, oh, like you kind of forgive Ibuka like a little more for not playing so well. Because we know we've seen it from Jefferson. So, and Ibuka was a surprise relatively, right? So, and how, that stuff doesn't really matter at this point. It's kind of like, well, who's doing what? And they're basically playing the same, like recently.
Priors always come in and influence it. It really does, like, man, I usually I'm good at or like I do a good job at least at trying to like sell high on guys. Didn't really do that too much in redraft this year. But when you get guys off to like such a hot start, I know it's so hard to sell them, but it's just like it's so hard to maintain that over a full season for anyone, like what Ibuka was, his start and what he was off to was like, it would have been insane if he did that for an entire season. I mean, those first 5 weeks, 1,500 yards, 17 touchdowns, like those are numbers you don't really see very often. The 15 and 17 touchdowns. That's elite stuff, and it's just so hard to maintain that over an entire year. Even like Jonathan Taylor, like we were talking about him before, just, look at Jonathan Taylor's like box score. Two of the last 4 weeks haven't been great. Another one was 120 yards without a touchdown. But we were talking about him like, oh, is he gonna like approach LaDainian Tomlinson's, all-time game and stuff like that, and like or all-time season, and now it's just like not even in question, stuff like that. It's just like it's so hard to maintain, but
Nah, he'll be fine. Like we just because we haven't had the 3 touchdown game for 2 weeks, that means he's going to do it twice in a row now, right? Because he was averaging one of those every other week. So come on, Taylor.
Yeah, that Daniel Jones injury, though, I do think is affecting that whole team. He's definitely not like moving. He's not able to like move. He's very much a pocket passer.
Yeah.
So luckily, they have a good offensive line, though.
Yeah, for sure. Which I think that was kind of like the biggest surprise about the Colts, right? Like maybe Daniel Jones play, but it's kind of stemming from that offensive line being a little better than we thought it was going to be. So, I mean, and credit to Daniel Jones playing so well against the Chiefs and the Texans in the last 2 weeks. He's still putting up those points, like where it's like, man, like you shouldn't have played that well when you can't even move, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he was solid. It's just definitely like it's affecting the offense as a whole of like his lack of mobility. I know he wasn't necessarily running a lot, but there was the threat of him being mobile, and it's not right. It's not there. At least it wasn't last game. So Matt says, with that said, already have a playoff spot, have a chance to knock this guy out. Did I roll AD Mitchell or Pierce at wide receiver? Try for an upside sicko star. Yeah, I mean, those are like, that's like they're kind of the Spider-Man meme here a little bit at this point. I mean, I know Pierce is a little bit more proven at it, and AD Mitchell we're just seeing over the last few weeks though. But AD Mitchell, and he's getting targets. That's the different thing. Like he's getting targets and he's getting the ball down the field, which is usually like combine both those things, and that's good. That's going to translate to good production there. So I probably lean AD Mitchell, but they're very similar. They're kind of big play wide receivers.
Yeah, I think the targets are kind of like the bigger, like that's kind of the difference maker, I guess. There. Also, like given that Daniel Jones can't move around, so he can't extend plays to like, wait for guys to get downfield. So maybe move away from Alec Pierce towards Mitchell, like as like another slight tiebreaker, I guess. But yeah, I mean, 25 targets in these last 3 games, like hasn't done a whole lot with them until last week. But compare that to 14, I guess, for Alec Pierce with similar catch percentage and production in his last 3. So yeah, go AD Mitchell, knock him out, take him down, Matt. He don't deserve no playoffs.
Just checking matchup here real quick. Miami and Jacksonville. So I don't think they're either one really anything to worry about or target necessarily. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like Jacksonville is like they're middle of the pack here. I like to look at the last 4 weeks though. Let's see here. Jags, middle of the pack. Dolphins are on the close. They're like at 7th or 8th most points given up. So probably a better matchup for AD Mitchell as well. So seems like he's the play there for sure. Baker or Caleb this week. We got Caleb going up against the Packers and Baker going up against the Saints. Baker could be getting all his weapons back.
Baker.
Yeah, I'll go Baker. I will go.
I think that's actually kind of a little bit of an easy one. Important game for Green Bay, right? Important for Chicago too, because that'll put them 2 games up on their closest contender for their division. So it's like you can't just say it's like, oh, it's important for the Packers, but because it is for the Bears too. But I think they're going to kind of maybe put the Bears in their place a little bit. And Baker with potentially getting all his weapons back against division rival also. I don't know. I think that game. What's that?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think New Orleans are actually going to give the Bucks a little bit more trouble than people are anticipating, because they just know how to play them. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Baker.
Number 1 team against quarterbacks over the last month are your New Orleans Saints, giving up 6.9 points to quarterbacks over the last 4 weeks. Yeah, crazy, right? They played Tua. I don't know if there's a bye in here.
There is a bye.
So it's basically Tua,
Cousins and Bryce Young.
Cousins or Penix at that point. Yeah, Cousins and Bryce Young. So not the greatest ones ever. But I mean, we've seen Bryce Young light it up. We've seen Tua light it up
once.
Bryce?
Yeah, I'm just giving Bryce a hard time.
Yeah, I thought he was good last week too. Like with running the ball, but
he
threw 3
touchdowns
last week. Yeah, so he's been good 2 of the last 3 weeks. Yeah, I mean, Saints, man, they shut down those quarterbacks. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go Baker as well, but it's hard to kind of go against Caleb as well. I mean, that offense is humming. Caleb, he's had some down games for sure. He's had some pretty big games as well. So he's a little boom busty over the especially since the bye week. Just kind of looking at it here, like he has 1, 2, 3 games of under 10.5 points or less. Another game with under 13 points, but then he has 36, 25, and 21. So yeah, I think I go Baker there, but like both those guys for sure. What's up, Jeremiah, Fannin or Gadsden?
Just going back to Fannin.
Yeah, it has to be Fannin, right?
Yeah, look, we got really excited about Gadsden over a couple of games. I mean, more than a couple, I guess. It looks like a 4-game stretch. Not to say that he's not a good player or anything. He's out there more than any of the other Chargers tight ends, which is great for a rookie to be playing that much already. So, like, he's definitely their guy. But, potentially no Herbert and, a hobbled Herbert, I guess, in his non-throwing hand Monday night against Philly, crowded receiving room, maybe Hampton's back. Like, I mean, what else do the Browns have going for them? Like, it's basically Fannin is a good chunk of their offense. So I'm going to go Fannin.
Yeah, that's fine. I think I agree there. Just kind of looking at Philly, what they've given up recently. They've played some decent tight ends over the last few weeks. They're still relatively good over the last 4 weeks against tight ends. I mean, they played the Bears guys. They played, Ferguson. I think Laporta was out by, he's already out by then. And then I think Kraft was already out too. So kind of so there with who they played. Yeah, we're going to go Fannin there. Favorite NFL team? I don't really have a favorite anymore. Used to be the Chargers, but I kind of I don't know. Yeah, it's the Chargers, but I mean, I think I'm don't know. I was wearing a Charger shirt yesterday. But yeah, I'm not as big of a fan as I was.
Fun enough
Years
story
ago.
for you, Jeremiah, that our dad was, he was from Michigan, and so he was a Lions fan all through his life, and so he lived through a lot of disappointment with them, and he basically started following the Chargers when we lived in San Diego in the early 90s, like late 80s, early 90s, just because he needed something else to root for, and Mike was born there. So that's how he was indoctrinated, I guess. Hometown team, good for you. Dad always gave a shit about that. Like, my wife's a Packers fan, and Dad would always tell her, you don't even know where Green Bay is on a map. Like, that has something to do with fandom. So yeah, so you can pick whoever you want. He says he's from Hawaii, so I'm a Buccaneers fan. I mostly picked them in the Jameis Winston era for a few stupid reasons, partially because they were shitty, and partially because no one else liked them. And yeah,
I think you picked them when they came off their worst season or something. Like, they were the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah, a lot of it had to do. I remember talking to Dad actually about, like, hey, where's all the black quarterbacks? Like, where's those guys? Like, oh, there's Cam Newton and Russell Wilson and stuff. And when I was trying to find like a shitty team to follow that no one else liked, I was like, oh, Miami has 3 of those, so I kind of landed on the Bucks, and I was like, oh, Jameis Winston, black quarterback, awesome.
Yeah.
And they were very entertaining to watch, to say the least, with Jameis. So,
yeah, yeah, I get the whole. You need to be, from Dad's point of view, and older generations, like, you need to be from the area to root for that team, just because, like, back then, that's all the games you got, was like, you just got the Lions on TV. You didn't get all the, you didn't get Red Zone or Sunday Ticket and shit like that. So
it made a lot more sense. And Jeremiah said, like, the Lions are kind of getting up there, and it's like, yeah, like, that's Dad stuck through it, and he finally got to see them get good, kind of. So
yeah, but they choked their Super Bowl chance there a couple years ago
against the Niners.
Yeah,
I'll never forget that. I had a couple of coworkers over for that game, and Big Dave, I think he had $100 on the Niners to win some big parlay or something, and I think he bet Dad $100 like straight up that the Niners were going to win. And he was just like there, just like yelling in Dad's face, like, yeah, like, fuck the Lions. Like, and my buddy Tyler from work was just like, man, you guys are intense about football. I'm like, yeah, well, no one takes it too harshly. Like, yeah, it sucks. Dad definitely took that one kind of harshly, but
yeah, I would have too. Yeah, everyone's probably telling them, oh, they did well this year, they'll be back. It's like, yeah, we know how that goes.
Yeah.
Are you sure about that? Like, so. Yeah, you're a Raiders fan. Sorry, Jeremiah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We got a lot of those around here. Southern California. Lots of Raiders.
How old he is. Because you have maybe a lifetime of just sadness for the Raiders. Because they haven't really been good since they made it to the Super Bowl back in 2003 season, I forget which one, against the Bucks, and lost because their head coach knew all their fucking calls and plays because he just coached them the year before.
I like his next comment that everyone loves football in the NFL. Like, oh no, he's 11. Sorry for saying so many obscenities. I hope you're joking, but I don't really care either. My daughter's 11, so she's heard a lot of the horrible stuff. that I've said. Well, good for you, buddy. Stick with it. My mother-in-law is a Raiders fan, and half of my best friends are too. So I just like to give them crap. That's for sure. That's the fun part about football, talking smack to other people when you had nothing to do with the game.
Yeah, and Raiders, man, like they were definitely like the coolest team. Good night, Bianca. And it says she's gonna go sleep. She or he, I assume it's a she. They were like one of the coolest teams to play for. You know, this is back in like the 70s and 80s, even in the 90s and stuff. Like everyone wanted to be a Raider. They're very like a very progressive team as well, just in terms of like I want to say the Raiders were the first team to hire like an African American coach, either coach or like GM or something. Or the one of the first maybe. I don't know. They were definitely, you know, they were dirty, but they, you know, they didn't technically break any rules, but they would, you know, some guy would just like be covered in like the stickum. I think he was a defensive back, like the stickum stuff in order to like catch the ball better. He just like, it was just like caked in it and shit, like to intercept passes. Like, it was just, yeah, good history there at least. Sucks there.
Yeah.
2 decades of just sucking.
Yeah, so. But I mean, their fan base. I interact with a lot of their fans on a regular basis, and they're diehard. You know, like even when they're bad, like it's kind of, you know, they know they're bad, and so sometimes it definitely feels like talking smack to a 11-year-old Raider fan on a podcast. It's like, well, I don't feel good about that anymore.
Yeah, no, yeah, but I'm sure Jeremiah is if you're a Raiders fan, you must be used to it at this point.
Yeah, he's got to be a tough kid.
Yeah, I think this is I think that's kisses from Brazil, I think. I was gonna say I think Brazil I want to say like Brazil has like the second or third most fans like outside the US. I know Mexico's up there, like Brazil's pretty high up there, fans of the NFL. I was trying to pull that up, but you know, obviously Brazil's a huge country, so that's part of it. But you'd think it would be like the UK, right? But I think it's like Mexico and then Brazil after the US, of course. So we'll get to a couple more guys, then we'll take off here. Football is a fun sport to play. You know what I'm saying? Everyone loves playing football these days. Yeah, you play, Jeremiah? It's cool if you play. I wish I played when I was younger. But yeah, I mean, football's.
I was short.
Still am running back.
Just not that short. Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, short for be a running back, you could do it.
I'd be the guy in the booth. I can be the announcer or something. You know.
Yeah.
Not. I mean, like inclined.
I mean, Mike McDaniel, you know, the coach of the Dolphins, he played football at like Harvard or something like that. Yale.
The cocaine dealer?
Mike McDaniel? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he the cocaine dealer? Because he's in Miami?
Yeah.
Yeah, he played at Yale. He was a wide receiver. So Fannin, Schultz, or Ertz at tight end, full PPR. My lean is Fannin, but Schultz, I feel like, has been pretty good lately, right? I don't have any Schultz on any team, so it's hard to 7 for 55. Yeah, he's been good. He's been really good, actually, 4 of the last 5 weeks.
I feel like Schultz was the one I was like ready to like really write off pretty quickly. I was definitely thinking Ertz or Fannin. I mean, I was kind of leaning Fannin, and it's kind of funny because looks like he's actually like the worst scoring one. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say because Jaden Daniels could be back. We know he likes Ertz. Not that Ertz has been bad, 21 targets in the last 2 weeks with Mariota. Last 2 games, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I think I still want to lean Fannin though. Talk us through the Schultz.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking it up now. He's been, again, I don't have any Schultz anywhere. He's already at 60 catches, 550 yards. He only has 1 touchdown. Tight end 10 on the year in PPR since week 7. Tight end 5. That's like since their bye week, basically. Tight end 5. He's pretty consistent. Like he has kind of 2 down games basically since the beginning of the year. So, yeah, I think I might just go Schultz. He seems to be a pretty big part of that offense, So, and better quarterback, Fannin's always a little bit scary with the quarterback play and stuff. So, I think I'm going to go Dalton Schultz.
The Chiefs are 6th on the season against tight ends, and they've played some good ones too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they played Ferguson last week, Warren the week before, Denver, whatever. Kincaid when he was still there, Ertz, Bowers before that, Laporta when he was still there, the Baltimore guy. So they've played some serious tight ends. And they're
so
not
you mentioned
really,
oh, sorry, good.
I was just going to say they're not really letting up a lot of points against them.
Yeah, last 4 weeks, about middle of the pack. I think like dead center, 13 points per game. It sounds like they played it like their tough stretch was about the last month or so.
I mean, Denver and a bye week are in there, so it's really Warren and Ferguson. So like a really good tight end and then a pretty good tight end.
What about Evan Ingram?
What about him?
He had 6 for 79 last week.
That's not when they played. That's not when they played.
No, I'm saying, but he's a good tight end because he had 6 for 79 last week.
Oh, okay. Well, what did he do against Denver or the Chiefs? Sorry.
4 for 33. So not terrible. Not terrible. I mean, that's probably what, tight end 15. So I'm going to go Schultz. My second would probably be Fannin, and then Ertz is probably how I would order that.
Yeah, I guess
there.
I'm a little different there, as in completely. I'm going to go Fannin, Ertz, Schultz.
There you go, Pokey. We didn't really help you there. Waddle or Christian Watson? It's going to be Waddle.
Yeah.
But like what we see from Christian Watson, good to see him come back and from that ACL and just like really really kind of just kind of hit the ground running a little bit. Like hopefully he freaking stays healthy and goes on a playoff run. Like he's been productive in every single game since he's come back from the ACL injury. Nothing crazy to write home about, but he's given you, a floor. His worst game is 2 for 45, but he has 45 receiving yards or more in every game since coming back, basically giving you probably 4 catches, and then he's always a good touchdown threat. So
yeah, I mean his average is it's pretty easy, right? 6 games, he's doing basically 4 catches, 60 yards, and half a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's out there a bunch. So
yep.
I don't mind it, like what Watson's doing, but I just feel like Waddle is the play.
Yeah. We'll take off, guys. Yeah, Bianca, we know you're in Brazil. Well, at least I knew. Oh, yeah, you had the Brazilian flag a few times. We're in U.S. and Mexico. We're from the U.S. though. So welcome. Hopefully you join us. Hopefully you play fantasy football. Jeremiah, don't play anymore. That's okay. You can still enjoy it. But yeah, we'll be back Saturday morning. So appreciate everyone. have fun, enjoy the some college on this weekend, some conference championships and all that stuff. So enjoy it, and we'll see you guys Saturday.